Hi, this is Hank reporting from Kyiv, and this is my updated Russian-Ukrainian war. Let's see what happened over the last 24 hours. Main artillery depot in Crimea damaged. Main ammunition plant in Russia attacked. Russian Major General killed in Donetsk. Situation in Kharkiv region. 18 new types of Ukrainian weapons. Power outages are back. Riders on the storm. Agents of the Ukrainian secret unit Outages, who serve undercover as part of the Russian military at the Belbek airfield, reported that night there was a direct hit in an ammunition depot, followed by many hours of detonation of ammunition, namely missiles for Russian Su-27, Su-30, MiG-31 aircraft that fire at Ukrainian cities from the territory of Crimea. As a result of the secondary detonation, the infrastructure of the airfield was damaged, and I hope that now Russians will not be able to use it for their attacks. Let me remind you that this is the second night in a row that this military airfield has been successfully attacked by our long-range missiles. Yesterday, combat aircrafts were already hit there and 11 flight personnel were killed. According to intelligence service of Ukraine, at 9 drones hit the Russian Basalt factory, which is part of the Russian complex of Ministry of Defense. Moreover, is the main enterprise for production of ammunition and supply of weapons for all units of Russian army. Sounds like a big fat target. The surveillance video shows a massive explosion in the middle of the night. There are no details yet, and there might not be any details due to the level of importance of this factory. Russians like to classify such things, and as usual, they say they have no losses. It just burned out from the heat of the sun. There was a bang, technological slap or something. No explosions, no attacks, but we have the video. We finally received data on targets hit in occupied Donetsk on the 11th of May. Russians let it slip that the division commander Major General Zolotukhin was liquidated there. Good news for all of us. The fewer experienced generals Russia has, the closer our victory and peace on European continent are. Notice how the effectiveness of Ukrainian attacks has increased recently. After the announcement of a large military aid package from our allies, in particular after the unblocking of supplies of ATACMS missiles. Remember how we asked for an opportunity for a year and a half? Thank you, we appreciate. According to available data, Russian troops were able to advance into the Kharkiv region from the north no deeper than 8 kilometers and did not reach our first line of defense. It can be assumed that this is an attempt to create a so-called buffer zone in order to push back our troops and pull reserves here, as we said at the beginning of this operation. Putin also said that he wants to create a sanitary zone in order to protect Belgorod from diversions conducted by fighters of the Russian Volunteer Corps, the RDK, consisting of ethnic Russians who are really fighting Putin's regime and have frayed his nerves before. Our general staff reports that the Russian advance in this area has been stopped. The fighting is still very intense, but at the same time there is no talk of any breakthrough. The Ukrainian Ministry of Defense reported that in the past week alone, they have approved 18 brand new types of weapons for use on the battlefield. In addition, another 24 new types of weapons have been codified, which are produced in secrecy here on the territory of Ukraine. Since the beginning of this year, we have already registered more than 80 new types of weapons and technologies. At this rate, there will be more than 200 by the end of the year. I'm very glad to see that our defense complex is developing. Yes, it's a pity that we couldn't do this before the war started, but it's better now than never. Due to increasing Russian attacks on the Ukrainian power grid, we are again forced to cut off electricity throughout the whole country and import electricity from Europe to keep the infrastructure functioning. You probably remember how Ukraine existed generators and backup batteries in the winter of 2022. Back then, Russians hoped that we would freeze and give up, but they still don't get the point. As a child, I loved to play the game Rainbow Six, and there was a SWAT mission to destroy terrorists who had occupied the power plant. Let me remind you that at the moment, the largest power plant in Europe, which is located near the Ukrainian city of Zaporizhia, is occupied and heavily mined by Russians. This will be a cool mission in some game that will be created in future, but now it's our harsh reality, the threat of nuclear disaster and energy terror. This is what the schedule looks like now, according to which I receive electricity at home in Kyiv. Last blackout season, I worked on the computer at home for 4 hours while I had electricity, then went to a cafe with a generator for another 4 hours and read books on my iPhone, then returned home for another 4 hours, and so on in a circle. It gets on my nerves, but if the choice is between being under Russian occupation or cruising from one electrical outlet to another, then my choice is clear. The documentary Project Varta presents the second novel, Riders on the Storm, which sounds like the Storm Tamers in Ukrainian, and that's a little bit different. Second short film, Riders on the Storm, tells the story of the 21st Separate Air Assault Brigade, which is engaged in fierce tank battles on the key front lines in Ukraine. Says the description of this video, which was released just today, and this is just a cinematic masterpiece. Former rappers, farmers, drivers, now they are fighters of a tank battalion. The film portrays the war in the faces of real people, allowing you to see images and hear the voices of those who defend the country's independence. This is about ordinary people who may not have seen a real tank before the start of a full-scale invasion in 2022. Now these people are already professionals with impressive combat experience. I was so impressed by the first part, which is called Cherubs, and is dedicated to Ukrainian combat helicopter pilots. Be sure to check it out. I'll leave a link to both videos below. Well, that's it for today. This was my news report from Ukraine for the day number 813. I'm still getting used to talk on camera and talk in English overall. Thanks everyone who provides a feedback and watches these videos. See you tomorrow. Take care.